there are people who were above the law. They were not answerable to anybody in the conventional security hierarchy. Some of these individuals are walking in our streets. We are looking for some of them. If you have any information about crimes that were committed or about to be committed, I urge you to go to the nearest police station. For those of you who have loved ones disappeared, if you cannot find your loved ones or your relatives or your friends, and they were allegedly arrested or detained during the previous administration, we have already constituted a missing persons panel at the police department. Go and report. The panel will look into it, we will investigate, we'll get down to the bottom of it. We are already aware that some people are in custody with respect to some of the crimes. We urge all of you to remain vigilant that the country is ours. Every Gambian ought to be a police officer. The security of this country is the primary responsibility of all Gambians. It is a task that we must all attempt to fulfill. Law and order is key. If we don't have internal security, there will be no agricultural production. You see in Somalia, in Central Africa, where people abandon their farms, crops got destroyed, animals, cattle, and so forth. We've seen businesses closed and looted. The Gambia is a peaceful country. We want to retain that peace in our country. And I urge all Gambians to continue to comport themselves in the best manner possible, particularly as we approach legislative elections. We want to make sure that we can, again, conduct the parliamentary elections in the spirit of camaraderie and friendship and the usual kinship that we all know Gambians for. Politics is a very noble thing. It is only the conduct of certain politicians that give a bad name to politics. But let us campaign, let us engage each other, let us maintain law and order. If anybody wants to use this period to fan the flames of tribalism or regionalism or excessive partisanship, well, the laws are in place. We will apply them. We hope you will take note of that. And I want to thank all of you. I want all Gambians to support the Ministry of the Interior and its satellite institutions in keeping this country safe. Support the program of His Excellency the President Adam Barrow, the development agenda, so that in a very reasonable period of time, the Gambia will graduate into a middle-income economy. We will grow our economy, we will create more jobs, and we will build wealth for all Gambians to enjoy. Thank you very much.
I hope you will entertain some questions.
Few questions.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Interior, for conveying this important press briefing about the current security situation of the Gambia. I am Seni Maran. I work with SMBC and also Stranger for VOA. Some arrests have been made by the police in recent days, including the chief of the Gambia, formerly the National Intelligence Agency, alongside 8 others. We understand that they are currently charged with murder of the late UDP youth leader within the security forces. And secondly, the police did order for the arrest of Solo Sunday at the Westfield protest in April last year. And then they hand over him to the NIA, and then he allegedly died in their custody. Questions have been raised why the IGP is not indicted, because he ordered for the arrest of Mr. Sunday. And the other question, we understand the body was buried somewhere, and the family is demanding his body to be exhumed for proper burial. We want to know whether Solo's body will be handed over to their family for the proper Muslim burial. Thank you, Honorable.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that this matter, people were arrested, they were charged and brought before a court, and in fact they are currently against the law for me to make any specific comment that is sub judice, that is currently subsisting in the court. The laws of the Gambia does not allow anyone to comment on a case that is subsisting. In other words, that have not been concluded by the courts. Because of that legal limitation, I will not be able to answer your question. But I can assure you that all these matters are under extensive investigation, and where culpability lies, so be it. This is where we approach the situation. At the end of the day, the evidence will come out in court during the proceedings. If you would like to know the facts, that is where they will be thrashed out. And then, you'll be au fait. That is, you must prove that someone has committed a crime. You bring in the evidence, and the court will evaluate, and a judicial determination will be made. We believe in the independence of the judiciary. Therefore, I will not go into detail on that case, on any matter that has to do with that case. Let the court decide, and when the courts speak, then we'll get the opportunity to comment on that at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. I am Kiraji from Right for Foreign Business. There is an information that CDS has submitted some names, who are arrested. Some people, in Basel, he has given them to police today. I don't know how can you confirm this, whether you can confirm this. And also, secondly, there are people, who are still seeking for justice, and your government is saying that they are going to set up a panel, investigate the commission of reconciliation committee. I don't know how far has this thing gone, because some people are really worried. They want to see justice for their people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gifford. We also would like to see justice for victims. It is necessary for closure. It is also necessary to get down to the truth of this matter. The President made it very clear. He wants a Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Committee to be set up. These are matters of great importance to his administration and to all of us. Steps are being made in order to realize this. As you know, you just cannot get up and set up a commission like that. The technical details will have to be worked out, but this is being handled as I speak to you. The matter is being handled, and I'm sure Gambians will see that the commission will be functioning. And then, at the end of the day, there will be some form of justice that the nation will be able to live with. With regards to arrests, I can assure you that several arrests were made, and we continue to follow leads, and these leads will lead to more arrests. But with regards to investigation of existing arrests and so forth, I'm not at liberty to comment right now, because these are matters that the police are still working on. We have not yet exhausted the investigations, and I do not want to say or do anything that may be prejudicial to that process. We would like to give justice even to alleged perpetrators. The law is here to protect everybody, the victim and the perpetrator. All of them have their rights under law. And when a matter is being investigated by the police, it will be improper for anybody to draw any conclusions or make any remarks that may impact that investigation as of now. So I will not be able to give you any facts relating to that. I'm sure at the appropriate time, it will be known what has happened or what will happen. Thank you.
I have a follow-up question. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Pamuru Fal, Daily Observer. Honorable, you've made mention about that you urge people to return weapons and cutlasses. My question here is, are there any missing weapons, especially within the security, because security forces, whether, some of the weapons have been missing or not? I need clarification on this. So the other thing is that if there is any missing weapon, are you working closely with the other security apparatus to make sure that these missing weapons, are recovered? That's my question, and thank you very much, sir.
I want to tell you that there is no cause for alarm. There is no cause for alarm. People can go about their business. Your question suggests that there may be a lot of weapons who are unaccounted for. I want to assure you that there are people in society who are in possession of unlicensed weapons. And if you have a weapon that is not licensed, you don't have the authority to carry on the law, we ask you to surrender it. Because when we come across you, and we will discover you, we will find you, the law will take its course. In effect, this is a general warning to anybody who may be in possession of any weapon unauthorized to return these weapons where they belong, in the interest of public safety. Because we are watching, we are monitoring, and we are very active. No one should mistakenly go believing that the state of affairs is so lax that you can get away with things. We want them to understand that we will allow them to move on freely in our country, but they should not be under the apprehension that government is not watching and that we are letting them, that they can escape and get away with things. We are watching them, and they know themselves. They know who I'm talking to. We are watching. If they believe that the state of affairs is such that the transition could enable them to do things that will harm society, let them try. They will regret it.
Yeah. Honorable, I have a follow-up question that I would love to make with regard to, we have received some report from the Casamance border that the Senegalese are using Gambia to launch attack against the insurgents in the southern Casamance region. I just want to know whether you are aware that there have been an operation launched from the Gambia against the Senegalese rebel separation MFDC. Thank you.
I am not aware of the presence of any Senegalese forces in the Gambia. I am not aware that Senegalese forces are operating in the Gambia. What I do know are foreign forces, are the economic forces who are here pursuant to the demands of this government. So what we have in the Gambia present are economic forces. We don't have Senegalese forces operating here. We have forces who are from Senegal, who are part of the economic force. We have Ghanaians and Nigerians and other ECOWAS nationals who are part of the economic forces. So strictly speaking, there are no Senegalese forces operating on Gambian soil. We do have economic forces here. Therefore, it would be impossible for Senegalese forces to use Gambian territory with weapons to launch attacks on any part of Senegal or Gambia. Those reports are inaccurate.
Thank you, Honorable.
We have two more questions.
Yes, I just want to ask regarding, you just made a recent visit to the MIC to assess the condition of the facility and the prisoners themselves. Which, according to you, after the meeting, you describe it as unsatisfactory. I want to know whether there is any form of an accountability to the prison director and his corps regarding their actions.
The prison,
yes,
very terrible, very appalling conditions. And that is why the president acted swiftly to release more prisoners. The first thing he did was to release all detainees, including all political detainees. So today, we're very proud to say that Gambia is among very few countries in the world with no political prisoners. Today, we have no political prisoners in the Gambia. Perhaps maybe the only country in the world, or one of very few, who can boast of that record. President Adama Barrow, that was one of his very first acts as head of state, was to liberate the Gambia of all political prisoners, which is a very commendable thing to do. And all those who were detained without their day in court, all of them were released. Subsequent to that, the president also manifested political commitment to decongest the prisons, reviewing the case. So the prerogative of Mercy Board met, which I chaired, and we recommended to the president, and he graciously consented to release over 170 prisoners. And the matter is not over. The president has directed that we continue to review these prison list inmates all over the country, both in Janjanbureh, Niger Swang, and Mile 2 prisons. And I can assure you that my ministry is very active on that. We are reviewing the list comprehensively, looking at case by case, a very exhaustive job. But thank God I have a very good team at the ministry. We are looking at case by case, and I'm sure very soon we will have another batch of prisoners that will benefit from the mercy of His Excellency the President. Now, the conditions in prisons are appalling. The government is committed to improving these conditions. But not only that, we are committed to building a modern prison that meets all the international standards, human rights standards, a prison that will be able to provide educational opportunities for juveniles, will provide skills to those who don't have skills, will promote talents of those who have talents, and so that you can graduate out of prison with a diploma, with a certificate. You can graduate out of prison with as a carpenter. You can open your carpenter workshop. You can graduate out of prison as a tailor, become a fashion designer. You can graduate out of prison and go to university from there. All this is the sort of things we'd like to do. It is not going to be a hotel. Certainly, the custodial conditions will be that of a prison, but it is not going to be one that will be dehumanizing or will allow them to live in circumstances of degrading treatment. This is the vision of the president, and my ministry will realize his vision, working with other other ministries within the government system. Of course, we are also going to go with civil society in Gambia, and I want to take this opportunity to thank Prison Fellowship. Prison Fellowship is a non-governmental organization that has done a tremendous amount of job in the prisons. But I know on our dispensation there will be even more, because we are going to collaborate with them and all other civil society organizations that want to do something at the prisons. I want to assure you that at the ministry we will welcome you, all Gambians and non-Gambians. If you want to have the prison, please come forward. You want to donate sponges, you want to donate soap, and whatever you want to do to ameliorate the condition of our prisoners, we will be happy to welcome you to do that. Thank you.
Can I have the mic, please? Can I just...
My question is with regards to the security reforms. During this impasse, there were concerns about the conduct of the security, and then you have also made reference to the fact that the intention of the government is also to, among other things, reform the security apparatus in the country. Would we, in the past, we have countries like Turkey, UK, US, and some instances, with the Gambian government to train the Gambian security. Would we see kind in terms of extending treatment regarding the state house? Is this one step towards making the PIU the elite force in the Gambia instead of the army guarding the army, the presidency? Thank you.
The president was very clear during the campaign and in his various speeches. He's indicated the role of the army is to defend the country against foreign aggression. And he's also made it very clear he wants to make draw a line between the armed forces and other law enforcement outfits. Because, like the president had stated earlier, in the previous dispensation, you cannot see the difference between what is the army and what is the PIU. The entire security establishment were mixed. You cannot tell which is which. And so he would like the army to withdraw and get back to their barracks and get involved in peacetime activities. Get involved in activities that relate to peacetime. The armed forces do not belong to our streets. And that is why one of the first things he did was to order for the dismantling of so many of these checkpoints where you find the military. Now, the police intervention unit is the arm wing of the police, but it is still the police force. They have the training that is provided to other members of the police force. They are better trained to deal with civilians. And the president has manifested his confidence in their ability to do that. And that is why the police intervention unit, the armed wing of the police force, is the one that has taken over the protection of presidential facilities and the president himself. That is what we will see. We want to see less involvement of the armed forces, the soldiers, in our daily lives. We want to see them away. We want to hear about them, but most government don't want to be seeing them. So the president is only reacting to the aspirations and will of the people. That is what he has ordered and directed. And as the ministry responsible for internal security, we will continue to implement this directive from the president with full effect. So the police will take care of internal security. That is what it's supposed to be. The military, if you look at the Armed Forces Act, the law that created the armed forces. Their responsibilities are clearly delineated by law. The President wants to make sure that those responsibilities that are stated under the Armed Forces Act, that the army should just be involved in those activities and leave the police to do what is also contained in the Police Act. And that is what we are saying now. The President is only giving meaning to the laws of the land. Thank you.
And the populations,
Can I ask a question?
reforms, you didn't answer.
Reforms are key. We are going to reform every institution. The President also stated this very clearly several times, even on his independence inauguration day anniversary. He made it very clear that this government is here to reform. We will reform institutions to make them relevant, to meet our 21st century challenges. Security is part of the same sector. Security sector is part of that reform. We are currently taking an audit of the entire security apparatus, internal security apparatus in this country. We'll come out with reform measures that governments will see to make them more effective, more relevant, at the same time enable them better serve our society. We are going to make security sector service delivery instead of one that is compelled by force.
Will that involve their salaries?
Thank you very much. Of course, the President also made it very clear. He intends to take a review of the salary structures in this country. He knows inflation has gone up, cost of living has gone up, and so it is only natural that people's earning capacity also should go up. The Minister of Finance is very aware of this, and the Minister himself is committed, in supporting the President's vision in reviewing salaries across the board. But we don't have any money now. We found that the former President on the air, for Gamtel alone, they have siphoned over 50 million United States dollars out of Gamtel alone. We haven't even gone to other areas as well. We are talking about over 40 billion of mismanaged funds. So our coffers are empty. Gamtel is indebted to the commercial banks to the tune of over 30 million, in fact 32.7 million United States dollars. We are a bankrupt economy. So the President would like to do all these things. The goodwill is there. The vision is there. But we need to find money elsewhere to get these things.
How do you intend to recover this?
Well, that is the challenge. That is the challenge. We get to that point. And one more last question.
Let's take the last question.
Should I use the mic or I can just go ahead? I wouldn't call myself a journalist today. I'll call myself a concerned citizen. Most of my questions have been asked, but I'm going to raise some concerns. Like, for instance, you said that those people who have committed whatever crimes, you guys are watching them. Now, we know how it is in Gambia. It's very easy to flee the country. I wanted to know if their documents are seized, so that even if they flee the country, they cannot even really do much, one. Secondly, it's about press. I feel that the notice you guys give is very short, and since I'm sitting here on behalf of the West, I feel that when you give a notice to a press conference, we should know the topic. It's very important that people know the topic so that people prepare themselves for the questions. So, and here again, I think someone should really organize it because it's hard to even put a question through. So how well are you guys organized?
Thank you very much. First, with regards to the press briefing, you understand when you go to a press briefing, except on the exceptional circumstances, my experience, I'm not aware it says, well, you are going to go and talk about only this and go. A press conference is different from a press briefing. When you have a press briefing, you read your statement and you go your way. When you have a press conference, it's open. Any questions can be asked. This is the nature of a press conference. I am not aware of any press conference where you have to tell the people to prepare themselves to ask the kind of question they should ask.
No, it's not questions like
excuse me,
security.
I want to answer your question.
Yes.
You said we should talk about the topic. I'm saying there's a difference between a press briefing and a press conference.
Okay.
In a press conference, questions are open.
Yes.
This is a press conference. So you ought to prepare yourself and come with kind of questions you want to ask now in a press conference. That is for you to do that job. As to organization and so forth, it can always be better. There's always room for improvement. This is always the case. There's always room for improvement. I'm sure every time we hold an event, the subsequent event will be better than the previous one. So that is taken on board in good faith. Regarding those who are that we are talking to, this is a government that is grounded on the rule of law. You just don't go and hold people. You don't go and seize their passports and other things. When you believe that it is necessary to monitor subjects, then you do your law enforcement duties. And when you are complete and you are ready to do the necessary things in terms of apprehension or seizure of passports or travel documents, those come later. But we don't want to act like the previous regime. You know, you are told one story, you just jump on people, start arresting them, locking them up. We don't do that. We want to do our job diligently in accordance with the law. And this is exactly what we are doing. When we have reasonable ground to arrest, we will arrest. When your travel documents are to be seized, it will be done according to law. That is what we are doing, and that's what we'll continue to do. Strictly according to the law. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, with that, we come to the end of this press conference. Thank you very much for being here.
Some of us are newcomers. We didn't have a chance to.
I'm sure you'll ask your question another time.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I'm sure you'll ask your question at another one. That's the question you are not being formal time.
Yes. But I can't even say that I have to run and then, you know.
I know, I have to look for the